The Supreme Court has voted to overturn abortion rights, draft opinion shows. So Politico, which often is quasi right-wing garbage dumpster fire, but man, they got the scoop on this one. Got a leak out of the Supreme Court. Justice Alito, his draft opinion of just basically where he is like, feeding the right-wing fever dream that they've been trying to do for decades to overturn Roe versus Wade and effectively return abortion access as an issue to the states. So it doesn't outright ban it, but of course, if you are in a state such as Texas or Oklahoma or most of the South or Midwest, you are staring directly at having abortion access completely revoked. So that is the thing. That is the thing that happened. Of course, the funny, in a not funny way, part of this is, of course, that the national media and most of the right, and of course even John Roberts himself, who is not, I don't think, going to be in the majority opinion on this one, but calls the Supreme Court leak absolutely appalling. And so, of course, many people tried to make this news cycle about the fact that shit got leaked as if WikiLeaks and the Panama Papers and all this other stuff hadn't happened in the last decade and, we all got along fine with it. A draft opinion from the Supreme Court, that's the true crime we got going here. So anyway, just dumb, really dumb that we now care about leaks and procedure and all that stuff suddenly instead of, like, the decision.
We should be thanking the whistleblower, whoever they are.
Honestly, yeah, seriously. Buy them a beer.
What did we expect? Honestly, we let Trump pack the courts. And what did we expect? We not only are women and non-men's rights being infringed upon, like, if you are a gay person, you're going to be next. If you are, our country, don't even get me started on the history of oppression this morning, but this is not the first stop, and it won't be the last. And
yeah, Jackson Lemire was already tweeting about how we need to overturn Obergefell. So it's like they got it all teed up. They're ready. And anyway, I love Osita. He's a writer with the New Republic. But anyway, I just really appreciated this tweet. Imagine winning your biggest cultural victory in half a century, the work of generations, one of the most significant movements in American history, and spending that night pretending to be mad about a leak. The right, never off the clock. Seriously, it's so funny. Anyway, gotta laugh or else you cry. So, but appreciate that one. I don't know. Other thoughts, opinions? We'll get to the Oklahoma focus, of course, next, because Stitt's big on it. But any immediate other reactions to the big news?
I just want to, all I can think is, that moment when Kamala was on the phone, we did it, Joe! And it's like, yeah, you did. You have successfully squandered the rights of women and non-men. You failed to relieve us of student loan debt. You didn't even give us $2,000 checks. And now you don't have shit to say about this. We did it, Joe.
So, being that we are on the topic of national government and seeing, what are the successes and failures out of the Democratic, officials coming out. Here over at Oklahoma Progress now, we are unapologetically progressive, and so we get a lot of flack for being left wing. But as far as I'm concerned, to do nothing, which is traditionally a very centrist perspective, or the pretending of doing activity to eventually accomplish nothing, is a big thing that comes out of this administration. We literally have, there's nowhere in the Constitution says we can't have more justices on the Supreme Court at all. If the Attorney General for the federal government isn't already preparing to deal with this circumstance or haven't foreseen something like this, then I'll just say we're kind of fucked. And then on the other end of these things is like Adriana said, like, you know, they're going to come after things like gay marriages or civil unions or whatever the hell next because the right uses this argument of a very Christian, colonial, evangelical perspective. And things like gay marriage, things like, you know, even bills that we've seen before, like very eugenics based principles, right? Fall under that category. You know, literally, we saw. I'll say it. We saw a symptom of that happen. I don't know if y'all remember a few months ago when like a Republican was going off about interracial marriage, and we're just like, bro, that was like so 1960s of you. Well, they never stopped living in the 1960s or arguably the 1980s. Like
I mean, the slogan's "Make America Great Again."
Right.
You know, like the again part. When was that again?
Like
Exactly.
they've always kept this shit up, and so as far as I'm concerned, like on our side of things, like we have to be ready to counterpoint them with a lot of this stuff. I mean, even look at it on the state level with how they've passed legislation to ensure that like trans kids are not able to play in sports, how they've passed legislation. I mean, even the point of trying to make the Bible the state book, right? If it ends up becoming a legitimized thing and they realize they can get away with it, watch that happen federally.
And you know, but the reason why is literally because the Democrats refuse to fight. Like they refuse to have any backbone. Like literally Roe v. Wade, the banning of misogyny laws that were making it illegal for people to be in interracial marriages, like integration. All of those things are things that have happened literally within like a lifetime compared to now. Like, some of us, our parents and grandparents who are still alive, were alive when these things happen, and they're already being attacked and taken away from us. So, like, we can't keep going on with this, like, oh, we don't want to fight hard because we don't want to be like them. Well, guess what? They're beating us, and they're beating us bad. Yeah. And it's because y'all don't want to fucking do anything. And y'all, the people in Congress and the people with privilege who are refusing to, take action aren't even the ones suffering from these decisions. Because you have enough privilege to be okay at the end of the day. It's us who don't. It's us who are going to be impacted by this. So it's us who need to start holding their ass accountable and calling them out too.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see, like, yesterday I saw on the news that, the Biden administration is going to purchase like a couple $100 million worth of like oil reserves to help lower gas prices and stuff like that, because like economics is a major kitchen table issue. I think now that abortion has now been brought back on the table, that's going to be a major social issue even going into the year. Nick, I've heard you talk about the fact that, like, they're going to try and get away with Roe v. Wade right before this election season is up so that they can drive out their base. And then we're going to have a bunch of Republican district attorneys come in and prosecute people on the basis of Roe v. Wade being overturned. And that's something that we at OPN have been talking about for a while now.
Yeah.
I think the most terrifying part of the whole situation is that, as we know, with like drugs and guns and even homicides, just because you outlaw something doesn't mean people stop doing it. So in this case, that means a shit ton of people who can bear children, but for whatever reason don't want to, which they have the right to decide that. It's not going to stop them from potentially attempting an abortion. It's just going to make them more likely to die from it or cause irreparable harm because they don't have a safe way to go about it. Like, abortions are healthcare, literally. And when you take that away, people die, period.
Well, especially when it's state by state, it's not even illegal in Kansas or New Mexico. So it's like you can literally drive 3 hours and get one. Now, what that will do is create, obviously, like a huge class disparity. Like, wealthy women will be able to go and get their abortion wherever they can get to, and lower income women will have a much larger structural barrier in place to prevent it. So, I mean, yeah, the whole argument, I mean, and the whole focus on banning abortion, I mean, it's just a culture war issue, and it's just, the whole thing is just dishonest.
Well, if it does become like totally banned, then we need to like see a major shift in the way that we teach sex education to students, because in Oklahoma, like, sure, you learn about the dangers and bad things that can happen, but it's all basically an abstinence-based program. Like, they're like, to avoid all these terrible things happening, you should just not have sex until you're married. When that doesn't work. That doesn't work for the majority of people. And so if we're going to still cower around the subject of sex education, then we cannot, ban abortion. Like, it's just, it's not going to be.
And go ahead, sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
On the topic of sex education, like, if y'all really wanted to stop abortions, I mean, you would do things like teach people that vasectomies are reversible.
Right.
Like, men can get, 500 women pregnant in a year or more, but a person who can bear children can only, get pregnant once a year.
Right.
Twice if you're having Irish twins, but even still, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's way,
the
way
problem is the penis. Like, oh god.
So real quick, I want to address this.
Vasectomies are not covered by insurance. Like, it is considered an elective procedure, and so by some by some companies, and I'm like, it's just so much, and it's all reversible too. Like, if we really, really put effort into it, then we would make an entire cycle and process and entire industry surrounding vasectomies.
Yeah, and to a couple comments here, like to Athena's comment about, Dems holding us hostage with protecting Roe. It's like they literally are out stumping right now for Henry Cuellar down in Texas.
Yeah.
Who is the last anti-choice Dem, in existence. And who has a very good opponent in Jessica Cisneros. And so, I mean, like, they literally, all they would have to do is just pull the rug for him and just say, we're going to sit this one out because you're wrong on this issue. And instead, they're like, freaking Clyburn's down there stumping and Pelosi's out for him. I mean, it's just like, it's so nuts just how their rhetoric doesn't match their efforts. And then I wanted to, on Facebook, I feel like our local news is laying us down. I hear about bills as they're passing, and I can't find petitions I want to sign. Appreciate this source. Thank you for watching. But I wanted to point out this News 9 tweet that, they literally use Stitt's framing. They're like, Oklahoma abortion providers face another restriction as Oklahoma's heartbeat bill is now signed into law. It is the latest move in Governor Stitt's mission to make it the most pro-life state in the country, which is such a gross framing considering COVID, considering all the top 10 lists we're at the top of that lead to early death. I mean, it's just, it's in the media. I mean, you just shouldn't even, you're just doing propaganda at this point.
Bro.
That's just straight propaganda.
Propaganda.
Black people make up, even just in Oklahoma City, we make up 7% of the population. But are 48% of people killed by police. And you think that we're the most pro-life state in the country, bro? Are you fucking kidding me? We are number 1 for executions per capita.
Yeah, and like,
are you serious?
Our population died because of COVID or had COVID, or not died, but
yeah, top 3 for COVID deaths. Top 3.
Like make it fucking make sense, bro.
It doesn't, bro.
They can't even make it make sense. They just keep trying new things, and so we forget about the thing that happened last week. Like, now we're all focused on barbecue and
right, because what did happen last week? Oh yeah, Swadleys. Swadleys.
No, I just can I put it this way?
Yeah.
They got money, which is like their number one thing, right? That like keeps perpetuating like these broken trash propaganda machines, right? And like they're not even good, like they're because even they're spending a shit ton of money doing the most stupid things. Like, for example, our state's new logo and how much money we spent with that and like firm in Canada. Like, with us on the left-hand side of shit, I think people just have a really hard time, like, number one, figuring it out and amongst themselves. Like, this is just, sorry, like, we have to realize what our problem is in this situation as well. Like, we're not completely, free from blame in this circumstance either. in places like these, like where we're literally going out and telling the truth to people and all this sort of stuff. I mean, this stuff amongst the general community sells. Like, people aren't stupid. They're just only used to dealing with, like, the only voice that's in the room.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Oklahoman, I mean, their editorial board has taken a slight shift and started getting new voices out there, and like people are like, wow, it's like a transformation. But it's like for the preceding like 100 years that the Gaylord family ran it, and then whatever inheritors they put over it. I mean, it just churned out the most. I mean, they were calling people thugs during.
Killing me.
The what?
Your incrementalism is killing me.
Well, but going to your point about how the media controls the narrative, I mean, the Oklahoman was calling people thugs during the George Floyd protests. Like it was, they were still using the racially coded language.
Google me and see the stories that come up in the Oklahoman. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's not
but
great.
To Taz, right? They're terrible, and they always call me a criminal. But to Taz's point, the incrementalism literally is killing people every single day. Black people are dying. People of color are dying. Women are dying. Trans folks are dying every single fucking day. Because your incrementalism is killing us. Gots to do more better.
Thanks for watching our video. Please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content. If you want to engage with us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.